The filter seal can be replaced quickly and easily with the right tools and the right know-how. But we can also quickly and easily get ourselves into trouble if we don't know what to watch out for. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Robert. Behind the camera here, we've got my son Julian helping out today. Big thank you to Julian, the camera operator, who's making my life a lot easier and making this a lot more fun. Here we are in the editing bay right now. Got the editor pulled up. Let me switch views here real quick. We've got, a couple weeks ago, we filmed the intro to this video. What video is it? It's another 4L60E video. Weird, I know. This one is on how to replace the filter seal on the pump. So when you're doing a transmission service, you may need to replace that seal. Maybe not. You can inspect it. But at any rate, it's one of those things that if you mess things up while replacing that seal, it can cause the transmission to slip, which can result in the clutches burning, which can ultimately result in transmission failure. So that's fun. At any rate, a couple weeks ago, we started filming this project. We ran out of time. Life happened. Other things came up. And this project has been pushed to the back burner, like I said, for the last couple weeks. But today we're finally circling back to this video, and we're going to film the rest of the footage for it. Only problem is the bench. You can see here we've got transmission on the bench and tools in the background. Well, there's been some stuff that's changed out there, and I need to get it back to looking at least close to the way that it did when we originally filmed this video, just so we don't confuse people. And yeah, we got some work to do out there, and that's going to be the topic of today's video. So like I was saying, it's been a couple weeks since we were out here last filming that particular 4L60E video. There's been a lot going on. For example, I was over at that transmission shop building a couple units, helping out. Speaking of that, here on the ground, we've got a number of things like this barrel, for example, 35-gallon JT7 or whatever barrel. It's got wood in here. I've got basically transmission tools in here. I'll pull some out. One of my transmission stands, tall one for an input drum. There's a number of other things in there, and then these bags down here on the ground. I did take air tools, but I wound up using this electric drill more than anything because the air lines there at the shop, they have water in them. It's common for an air compressor when it's running, the compressor starts to fill up with water, and what you do to combat that is drain the air compressor, every night. And then they use what are called like little dryers or whatever inside of, that's routed in line in the air lines running from the air compressor all the way down to the tools. In between the air compressor and the tools is a little dryer, and those collect water too, and those get drained daily. But at any rate, the air hose that I was using, it didn't have any of that special treatment. So my gun, when I was using my air gun, it was spitting water out, and I didn't want to get a bunch of water and have the inside of my gun start rusting. So I wound up bringing an electric drill, and I used that more than anything. It's a little slower, but hey, I'm not getting water in my gun, so I was happy about that. I've got a number of bags here on the floor. This one's got a number of transmission tools in there, torque wrench, hammers, kind of like, longer items to fit in that bag. I've got other transmission tools in here, and another bag full of tools, much smaller ones. And then I've even got some stuff up here on the solvent tank. But at any rate, I've got a lot of tools to unpack. I don't really want to unload them with them on the ground here. I'm hoping to bring them over to the bench, but the bench is a mess. Before I went over to that transmission shop, this unit was completely assembled, all in one, fancy one compact package, and I had it slid right over here, and we were actually filming that episode that that footage that you just saw minutes ago. But in prep for going to that shop, I was actually going to be working on 2 of these 4L60Es, but over at that transmission shop, and I decided to tear this transmission down to look at a few things, and just for the sake of being prepared as I could be for that next day at the transmission shop, because I just wanted to be as efficient as possible. I'm anything but a fast builder, so I wanted to check a couple things out just to, like I said, be a little more efficient over there. Anywho, I got all these tools down here on the ground. I'd like to get them onto the bench, but as you can see, the bench is covered, so I need to get a transmission put back together before I can get tools up onto the bench and get those tools put away. So that's what we're doing. I just had a thought. Hang on, I'm coming. I want to get those bags of tools up onto the bench so I can unload those bags and not be hunched over for way too long. But in order to put the bags up onto the bench, I need to get that trans put back together, right? To make some room on the bench. But the irony of all this is the tools that are in the bag, I need those to assemble the transmission. So yeah, there goes the plan, huh? So we just got done removing the output shaft, basically like the whole rear planetary gear set. But for those of you paying close attention, you may have noticed that some stuff was missing. So the gear set here, I was talking about these hard parts. We got a planetary gear set here. That's a carrier with the pinion gears. Got a ring gear that those mesh with, and then a sun gear that rides in the middle of all that. At any rate, this planetary gear set, this carrier here, these teeth are supposed to spline to clutches, but there was no clutches down inside of there. Here's the clutch pack that would normally be in there. You've got steels, frictions, and then a pressure plate, which the pressure plate is actually this guy right here, that smooth surface. The clutch is right on that smooth surface, so that's the pressure plate in this case. But point is, I unloaded that stuff and we were missing clutches. Reason being, when I was working at that transmission shop, assembling the rear unit on one of the 4L60Es, there's what's called rear end play. It's how much the shaft is able to move forward and back, and there's specs for that. And I was having some trouble with that unit over there. So when I got done over there one day, I came back and tore into this unit, assembled the rear section, but in order to save time, you can leave the clutch pack out, and now you're not trying to spline clutches and monkeying around with that. So I just left that out so I could get this assembled to check end play, and I wanted to check something else related to the end play on here, just so I could compare it to that other 4L60E when I returned to the shop in the morning. Speaking of missing things, we're also missing what's called the low reverse piston. This is what applies that clutch pack. So oil will come in from the backside, fed into here, and thanks to these seals, it holds the oil pressure. The oil pressure builds and it pushes the piston this direction, and that movement smashes that clutch pack, smashes our clutch pack together tightly, and that holds this planet from rotating, and that has positive consequences for the planetary gear set, resulting in a number of different gears. We can achieve manual first gear with that setup there, and it's not just that one clutch. In order to get any gear in a transmission, you've got to have one of these planetary gear set components needs to be held or prevented from rotating, and then we need to introduce rotation to another part of the gear set, for example, drive the sun gear. So there's a number of combinations that can be achieved there, but at any rate, when this low reverse piston is applied, it's used to create, as the name implies, or as the name hints at, it's partially responsible for creating manual low. So first gear with engine braking, elevated line pressures for increased performance. It's responsible for creating manual low, and it's also partially responsible for creating reverse. Anywho, I bring this up because this is also not installed, and it's supposed to be installed down in the piston, or down in the transmission case, excuse me. And I will show you, let me lean this over. You can see the blue goo down in there at the very bottom of the transmission case. That's where that piston's gonna live, and that is what I'm gonna be doing next. Getting that piston installed and stacking everything back in there. So yeah, let's keep going. So as you can see, I've got all the guts stacked into the 4L60E case. Got the pump in there. It's not quite bottomed yet. I've got the bolts installed, and I was getting ready to run the bolts down a little ways with, I like to use a little 1/4" drive ratchet. Got my 1/4" drive ratchet, 1/4" extension, and a socket here. But that socket is not 1/4", it's 3/8. So I need an adapter, which I have in the bag here. The bag I already dug out everything I just showed you on the bench, and I've been digging out extra goodies here, trying to make room to try to find that adapter. Digging around for I don't know how many minutes. Finally to realize, hey, the yellow drill over here. There's my adapter. Yeah, the fun of looking for tools. It's a lot easier when everything's just laid out already and ready to rock and roll. But like I said, trying to get this bench cleared so I can get the bags of tools up onto the bench and get everything sorted, cleaned, and put away. Oh yeah, I think a guy's earned his union mandated work break. So we got some stuff cleaned up, trans put back together, tools unpacked and put away. Speaking of which, I didn't think about it until after the fact, but had all the tools out that a guy would need to overhaul this unit. Maybe you guys would be interested in seeing more about the tools. So if that's something of interest, you guys want to see a dedicated video to automatic transmission tools, let us know. It's as simple as dropping us a line in the comment section down below. If we get enough interest on that topic, we will definitely put together a video for you guys. Back to the cleaning. As you saw, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of prep. Haven't even started filming the actual episode. That being said, this show is a ton of hours to produce. And if you're interested in helping support this channel, you can learn more about that in the video description down below. If you're new here to the channel and you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell too, because we got a lot more video content coming your way. As always, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate your viewership, and we'll catch you in another video real soon.
feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me, and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan your own hands can